October 2007. Hugh Jackman. Yes, that Hugh Jackman, one of the greatest musical theater performers on the planet, executive produces and stars in a new CBS drama. 4 days later, CBS cancels it after just 2 episodes. Critics are already calling it one of the worst shows in television history. Jackman's disaster wasn't even the only one that year. The 2000s were absolutely brutal for family sitcoms. Networks kept throwing money at gimmicks and celebrity names and adaptations of things that had already worked somewhere else. And audiences kept saying, no thanks, over and over again. So today, we're counting down 12 primetime family shows from the 2000s that crashed and burned in spectacular fashion. We've got commercial adaptations nobody asked for, and celebrity vehicles that stalled on arrival, and one animated disaster that cost over $30 million and made grown executives weep. If you're ready for some televised schadenfreude, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next trip down memory lane. Let's get into it. Number 12. Kath and Kim.
Would it make you feel better if you got up and made us some nachos?
All right, we're starting with a show that looked bulletproof on paper. The original Australian Kath and Kim was a beloved comedy, 4 seasons, cultural phenomenon, the whole deal. So NBC decides to adapt it for American audiences in 2008. They bring in Molly Shannon and Selma Blair as the mother-daughter duo. They slot it between My Name is Earl and The Office on Thursday nights. That's prime real estate. The premiere actually did pretty well, around 7.5 million viewers. NBC was cautiously optimistic. Then Australia rejected it. I'm serious. Australia's 7 network pulled the American version after just 2 episodes, moved it to an 11 p.m. graveyard slot, and replaced it with reruns of the original Australian series. They specifically cited popular demand for making that switch. Your source material's home country is saying, we don't want this version. That's rough. The problem was cultural translation. Critics pointed out that Selma Blair was just wrong for the part. The original Kim was heavier, and a lot of the comedy came from her being overweight, but dressing provocatively. Blair was slim. That whole comedic dimension, gone. NBC started with a 22-episode order, then cut it to 17. Metacritic gave it a 35 out of 100. One reviewer called it a contender for worst remake ever. Another gave it a 10 out of 100. Number 11. That 80s show.
We've broken up!
Hey, I'm not gonna say it again, Sophia! It is over!
That 70s show ran for 8 seasons, launched a bunch of careers. Well, Fox wanted another decade-themed hit. Same creative team, Mark Brazil, Bonnie and Terry Turner. But instead of spinning off the existing show, they created something brand new, set in 1984. Premiere did solid numbers. Over 11 million viewers, 41st for the week. Then reality kicked in. By the end, they were averaging under 7 million and finished ranked 104th for the season. Here's what critics figured out. That 70s show used the decade as background flavoring. Characters first, 70s second. That 80s show flipped the formula. The characters existed just to show off 80s stuff. Decade first, characters second. There's also a timing thing nobody could have predicted. The show was too early for real 80s nostalgia. In 2002, the 80s were only 18 years ago. Not enough distance. One analysis noted that genuine demand for 80s nostalgia wouldn't hit until the 2010s. Think Stranger Things. Silver lining, though, the cast did great afterward. Glenn Howerton created It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia 3 years later. Chyler Lee became Lexi Gray on Grey's Anatomy, and later Alex Danvers on Supergirl. Sometimes your first big break is just a stepping stone. Number 10. Father of the Pride.
Hey, Roger. I love it, Roger, but they don't have orangutans in the show.
If you're gonna fail, Might as well go big. The Father of the Pride was DreamWorks Animation's first television series ever. They marketed it hard. From the creators of Shrek. Budget was around $2 to $2.5 million per episode. Over 200 animators worked on it for 2 years. Total investment somewhere north of $30 million. NBC premiered it in August 2004 with a commercial-free episode sponsored by Toyota. 12 million viewers tuned in. The concept was ambitious. A family of white lions living in Siegfried and Roy's Las Vegas habitat. One character was literally named Sarmoti, an acronym for Siegfried and Roy, masters of the impossible. Problems started piling up fast. First, timing. Roy Horn got mauled by a tiger during a live performance in October 2003 while the show was still in production. Jeffrey Katzenberg said he'd scrap the whole thing if Roy didn't survive. Major delays. Second, the marketing created a massive disconnect. NBC promoted it as family-friendly Shrek content, but the show was actually for adults. Crude humor, sexual references, the works. A coalition of over 40 major advertisers, including Procter & Gamble, Walmart, McDonald's, had given $50,000 to help develop scripts. When they saw the actual content, they pulled out. NBC returned the money. The Parents Television Council filed over 11,000 complaints with the FCC. NBC yanked it from November sweeps. In December, they burned off 3 episodes in one night. Viewership dropped to under 5 million by the end. For what it's worth, the FCC ruled in 2006 that the show wasn't actually indecent. And it won an Annie Award for character design. So, there's that. Number 9. Center of the Universe.
Are you sure using a butter knife is the best way to get a tape out of the VCR?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am.
Oh, did you get it?
Some shows fail because of bad concepts. Center of the Universe failed despite having maybe the most stacked cast in sitcom history. John Goodman, Gene Smart, Ed Asner with 7 Emmys, Olympia Dukakis, an actual Oscar winner. Combined, this cast had over 10 Emmy wins and an Academy Award. CBS gave them a premium slot between King of Queens and CSI New York on Wednesdays. How do you screw that up? By wasting them in what critics called a show with little point or purpose. One reviewer said, Center of the Universe made Yes Dear look like masterpiece theater. Another wrote that sheer inertia was the sitcom's best chance of surviving. Premiered October 2004. Gone by January 2005. 15 episodes produced. Only 10 aired. The other 5 never saw daylight. This wasn't even Goodman's first post-Roseanne disaster. Normal Ohio got canceled quickly in 2000. Great actors can't always overcome mediocre material. Number 8. Baby Bob.
I don't know what that man cheated on more, his taxes, his golf game, his mistress, or me.
Golf game.
Here's a show that achieved something special. TV Guide ranked it number 14 on their 50 worst TV shows of all time list, while it was still technically on the air. That takes real effort. Baby Bob came from those freeinternet.com commercials from 2000 featuring a talking baby. CBS thought 30 seconds of ad content could sustain a half-hour weekly sitcom. The premise? A family dealing with a baby who can talk. That's it. Cast was actually decent. Adam Arkin, Jolie Fisher, Holland Taylor, Elliot Gould. The premiere in March 2002 pulled over 15.5 million viewers. Not bad, but audiences dropped steadily, and critics were brutal. One called it about as mediocre as primetime gets. Another described it as a bundle of joylessness. CBS renewed it anyway, then shifted budget to another show, My Big Fat Greek Life, which we'll get to, and cut Baby Bob's episode order. Season 2 sat unaired for over 14 months. CBS finally burned off 3 episodes on Friday nights in summer 2003, pulled the remaining 5, and pretended none of it happened. Number 7. Emeril.
Why
don't you tell Nora your big news, huh?
Yeah, honey, the network has ordered 20 extra episodes.
Really?
Celebrity chefs don't automatically make great sitcom stars. NBC learned this the hard way in 2001 when they built an entire comedy around Emeril Lagasse. The creator was Linda Bloodworth Thomason from Designing Women. She envisioned something sophisticated, a grown-up comedy that would do for men what her previous show did for women. That's not what happened. Critics universally noted that Lagasse looked uncomfortable with scripted dialogue. The original pilot got destroyed in testing and had to be completely retooled. Saturday Night Live parodied the whole mess 3 weeks after the premiere. There's a sad footnote here. Robert Urich co-starred, and this was his last series regular role. He passed away from cancer in April 2002, about 4 months after the show ended. He was 55. NBC pulled it after airing just 7 of 10 produced episodes. Those 10 came from an original order of 13. The show's now considered partially lost media. 2 episodes have never surfaced publicly. Number 6. My Big Fat Greek Life.
It's called a honeymoon, Dad. The special trip Thomas and I went on because we got married is called a honeymoon.
If you want to understand Hollywood hubris, this is the one to study. My Big Fat Greek Wedding grossed $368 million worldwide on a $5 million budget. Highest grossing romantic comedy ever at that point. It never even hit number 1 at the box office on any given weekend. Pure word of mouth. So CBS develops a spin-off. They get Nia Vardalos back, plus Michael Constantine, Lainie Kazan, Andrea Martin. Tom Hanks produces. They premiere it after Everybody Loves Raymond. First episode, over 22 million viewers. That's the highest rated sitcom premiere since 1998. Then it collapses. The show lost over 55% of its audience in 7 weeks. What went wrong? First, John Corbett couldn't come back as the husband. Contract issues with another show. His replacement didn't have the chemistry. Second, they converted the charming indie film tone into a loud laugh track sitcom. Vardalos reportedly didn't want a laugh track. CBS insisted. 7 episodes. Done. Though Vardalos did get her franchise back eventually. Greek Wedding 2 and 3 came out as theatrical films in 2016 and 2023. Television just wasn't the right home for it. Number 5. Cavemen.
Come on. Dance with the man, monkey.
The man really turns it on.
Oh my God, you sellout!
Okay, we've all seen commercials that made us laugh. But has anyone ever watched a 30-second ad and thought, this needs to be a weekly half-hour sitcom? No, which is why ABC's Cavemen became a punchline before it even premiered. Based on those GEICO commercials, so easy a caveman could do it. It debuted in October 2007 to over 9 million viewers, then lost 49% of its audience by the finale. Finished ranked 107th for the season. The controversy started early. The original pilot was set in Atlanta, but critics felt the cavemen being discriminated against was a metaphor for African Americans. Accusations of racism. ABC completely retooled it, relocated to San Diego, recast one of the main roles. It ended up on multiple worst ever lists. One publication called it extinct on arrival. Rolling Stone put it on their 50 worst decisions in TV history. But here's the redemption arc. Nick Kroll had one of his first major TV roles on this show. He later called Cavemen the most important experience of his professional career. It got him to Los Angeles and taught him network TV acting. He went on to The League, Kroll Show, Big Mouth. Also in the cast, Stephanie Courtney. She later became famous as Flo in Progressive insurance commercials. A GEICO competitor. The irony is perfect. After cancellation, GEICO actually aired a Super Bowl commercial where 2 cavemen watched TV, switched it off, and made a joke about the failed show. They mocked their own spin-off. Number 4. Hank. Here's a sitcom so bad that its own star called the network and asked them to kill it. Kelsey Grammer, Frasier himself, television royalty, signed on for Hank, a 2009 ABC sitcom about a Wall Street CEO who loses everything in the financial crisis and moves his family to small-town Virginia. He made $175,000 per episode. Premiere did almost 8.5 million viewers. By episode 5, down to about 5 million. Got crushed by Criminal Minds every single week. After one taping where the studio audience barely laughed, Grammer called Warner Brothers and asked when they could put a bullet in this thing. His own assessment, it just wasn't very funny. The painful comparison? Modern Family premiered 1 week before Hank. Same network. Same night. Just 9 p.m. instead of 8. Modern Family's premiere rating crushed Hank's. It went on to win 5 straight Emmys. Same network. Same night. One became an all-time classic. One got pulled after 5 episodes. ABC announced cancellation after airing just 5 of 10 produced episodes. The other 5 have never been broadcast in the United States. Grammer later called the failure a catalyst for his acclaimed dramatic role in Boss on Stars, which earned him a Golden Globe. Sometimes rock bottom points you toward your next peak. Number 3. The Pit's.
I fixed the ice maker. How do you take it? Cubed or wedged?
Fox's 2003 experiment. The Pitts asks the question, what if you made a live-action cartoon about a normal family constantly hit by supernatural disasters? Demon possession, werewolves, haunted cars, sentient ventriloquist dummies. All of this happened to the Pitt family. Solid pedigree behind it. Mike Scully, former Simpsons showrunner, created it with his wife. Seth MacFarlane was consulting producer during the period when Family Guy was canceled. Writers who'd later become key Family Guy voices were on staff. Fox gave it 3 weeks. 5 of 7 produced episodes aired. The last 2 got burned off on the same night. 2 more never aired in America at all. They eventually showed up in the UK. There's a tragic element here. Kelly Waymire, who played the mother, passed away suddenly in November 2003 at 36 from cardiac arrest, about 7 months after cancellation. The young cast found success elsewhere, though. Lizzie Kaplan landed Mean Girls the next year, launching her toward Party Down and Masters of Sex. David Henry became a Disney Channel star in Wizards of Waverly Place 4 years later. Family Guy even name-checked The Pitts in its revival, listing it among shows Fox aired instead of keeping Family Guy on. Number 2. The Return of Jezebel. James.
You have to find your children? Well, we sent them somewhere this week. Someone's mother, mine, Rick's, or camp. Is it summer?
Amy Sherman. Palladino created Gilmore Girls, one of the most beloved comedies of the 2000s. So when she developed a new show for Fox in 2008 about estranged sisters reconnecting, expectations ran high. She brought her signature rapid-fire dialogue, her regular composer, solid casting with Parker Posey and Lauren Ambrose. Fox gave her 2 weeks. 3 episodes aired. Done. Premiere drew just over 3 million viewers. Never climbed out of 5th place in its time slot. Fox called the ratings unacceptably low. What happened? Format mismatch. Sherman Palladino's style, that quick, layered, reference-heavy dialogue, was perfected on a single camera show with no laugh track. Jezebel James was a multi-camera sitcom with a laugh track. Critics called it a weird, tone-deaf mismatch of talents and styles. 7 episodes got produced before the writer's strike cut the original order from 13. The 4 unaired episodes went to iTunes, then got pulled. The show is now classified as partially lost media. Here's the silver lining. Sherman Palladino apparently learned something. Her next major project was The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, also about a fast-talking woman, but single camera with no laugh track. Multiple Emmys. Sometimes failure is just research for your next hit. Number 1. Viva Laughlin. And now we arrive at the crown jewel of 2000's television failure. Viva Laughlin lasted 4 days. 2 episodes. That's the entire run. The source material was a BBC show called Blackpool, starring David Tennant, right before he became Doctor Who. It won a Peabody Award. CBS decides to adapt it, moving the story to a Nevada casino town. Hugh Jackman signs on as executive producer and recurring guest star. Pilot budget runs around $6.8 million. The show was a musical drama where characters spontaneously break into song during dramatic moments. Here's the weird part. They'd sing along with the original recordings, basically doing dramatic karaoke over Elvis, the Rolling Stones, Blondie. The BBC original embraced this surreal concept fully. The American version, according to critics, went through the motions with one foot on the floor. CBS actually hid the musical element in their own marketing. Promos avoided showing any singing or dancing. When your own network is embarrassed to advertise your core concept, you're in trouble. The preview episode aired after CSI on Thursday and drew over 8 million viewers, but only kept 40% of CSI's audience. The second episode in its regular Sunday slot dropped to under 7 million with a brutal 1.2 rating. CBS announced cancellation the next day. One prominent critic opened her review by asking if Viva Laughlin was the worst new show of the season, or possibly the worst show in television history. That's not exaggeration. That was the actual published review. Australia's 9 network cancelled after 1 episode, the day after CBS pulled the plug. Production was literally halted mid-shoot when the news came. The unaired episodes are considered partially lost media. One small redemption: the showrunner they brought in, Stephen S. DeKnight, later created Netflix's Daredevil, one of the most acclaimed superhero shows ever made. Even the worst failures can lead somewhere good. Conclusion. So what connects these 12 disasters? A few patterns keep showing up. Adaptation hubris, assuming something that worked somewhere else will automatically work here. Celebrity-driven development, greenlighting shows based on famous names instead of strong ideas. Gimmick exhaustion, concepts that work for 30 seconds but can't fill 13 episodes. And format mismatch, talented creators choosing the wrong container for their vision. But here's the remarkable thing. So many people from these failures went on to do incredible work. Nick Kroll credits Cavemen as the launching pad for his career. Glenn Howerton escaped that 80s show to create It's Always Sunny. Melissa Rauch went from Kath and Kim to Big Bang Theory. Kelsey Grammer used Hank's failure to pivot into dramatic work that won him a Golden Globe. In television, spectacular failure often comes right before spectacular success. Just never for the same show. These 12 remind us that massive budgets, legendary talent, and proven source material don't guarantee anything. Sometimes the alchemy just doesn't work, and when it fails in prime time, everyone gets to watch. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this trip through television's graveyard, hit subscribe. Let us know in the comments which of these shows you actually remember watching. Until next time, keep those memories alive.